There is one massive mistake I see a lot of people on self improvement make. They do a lot of the things that they think will contribute towards their success, but most of the results of their actions vanish. They end up frustrated. They wonder what they're doing wrong. They can't figure it out. That is the one thing that is stopping them from making more progress, and they don't realize it. And what I've seen is no one is even talking about it. When I first started out my self improvement journey, I did what a lot of people do. I made the mistake that a lot of people make, which is making every step, every activity, every habit very deliberate. Because when you're starting out, you don't know what you have to do, and you want to do almost everything that every YouTuber, every book out there tells you to do. You want to do everything, and make these routines, make these plans, very elaborate, deliberate plans. And that's what I did too. I wanted to meditate, I wanted to read a lot of books, I wanted to get my attention span right. I wanted to stop scrolling on Instagram. And what I started to do was I started tracking things. I started using these habit trackers. I started journaling, and I would want to get everything perfect. I would want to know how I did. I wanted to be able to look back 2 months later to see what I was doing today. And that put up a lot of pressure, took up a lot of space in my brain, because now everything I do, I have to put conscious thought into. I had to optimize it for the best possible outcome, the best way you could do it. And it's not the best way to live. You might have seen Brian Johnson, the billionaire who decided to invest all of his time, all of his money into longevity, which is he's trying to live up to 120 years, 150 years or something. And do you want to live for 120 years if all you're doing is trying to live longer? If you have seen his videos, if you have seen his documentary, there was a Netflix documentary on Brian Johnson, which was released in January, if you want to watch that. If you see that, you realize his day starts with like 50 pills or something. He eats stuff I wouldn't want to eat. He's vegan. He stops eating at 11. He sleeps at 8. And he lacks social connection except the ones that came through the fact that he is trying to live longer. And I've noticed a bit of this background score of unrest, of lack of happiness. I don't know. Okay, I don't know him as a person. I don't know him personally. And I don't know if he's happy with his life. But I could see that I don't think this would be really sustainable because of the approach he's taking, because of how deliberate the things that he does to live longer are. As opposed to someone like Warren Buffett, because if you know, he drinks like a Red Bull every day. I don't know if it's Coca Cola or Red Bull, but someone who is 96, 97, someone like him drinking something that is widely considered unhealthy, that makes you wonder, does it matter if you are that deliberate? Is that what matters more? Or if it's all about just winging it, just doing what makes you feel alive? Because if someone like Warren Buffett, who has billions of dollars, he can invest most of his money. If he wanted to live 10 more years, he could do that. But is that the point of doing it? Or is the 60 years that Brian Johnson will get up next constantly living a life? He's living a life of misery, not in terms of money, but in terms of the things that he can do. Because think about it, someone who's going to spend almost all his time, almost all his money trying to live longer, do you think he can do something adventurous? Don't you think he'll be doing any physical activity with so much caution, with so much fear of being injured, that he can't really disconnect from his head and actually be lost in the thing that he's doing? Do you think he can do that? I don't think so. The pursuit of an optimized life won't give you a better life, won't give you a happier life. What made me realize my mistake was, one, it has to be the videos from Hamza. I don't know if you've watched it, but one of the people who played a big role in my self-improvement journey, in my change in perspective, in the way that I do the things that I do right now is Hamza. I watched a lot of his videos. I followed a lot of advice. That is not to say that I just watch his videos and apply everything that he says into my life directly. No. I think I've mentioned this before in a video about discarding advice and taking the right advice, being able to filter out the right type of advice. I've talked about this before on this channel, and applied that to his videos, and I was able to take the things that I think are what I need, and I was able to change it. But something else that changed a lot of it is, I don't know if I've talked about this book before, the book Psycho-Cybernetics by Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz. And in the chapter 6, which is titled Let Your Success Mechanism Work for You, he talks about how you have to actually let go, because he mentions how you can't really do anything, any motor function in your body, by consciously thinking about it. Me holding my hand up, I'm not doing it by thinking about the muscles in my hand. I have a better picture in my mind. I have a bigger picture in my mind. I'm only thinking about where the hand needs to go. My motor networks in the brain will do the things for me. I don't have to consciously think about each of the muscle for me to move my hand. I don't have to consciously think about each step when I walk. I only have to think about the place that I'm going towards, and I will be able to get there because I've done the training for the walking part already. If I still spend my time consciously thinking about, for example, if I'm consciously thinking about sitting here, my posture, my movements, everything, if I'm consciously thinking about it, if I'm consciously thinking about the way I talk, I won't be able to focus on the things that I'm saying. And that's what I think a lot of people are doing, because when you're doing self improvement, you're trying to improve yourself. But what a lot of people are doing is they're becoming the self improvement. All they're doing, all that they are about, is the self improvement that they're doing. And that is a very terrible way to live. Think about I'd like to think of this with an analogy of a rich man and a poor man. Because a poor man has to think about every penny that he's spending. He has to constantly give his energy to deciding, okay, is it worth my money? Is this something I want to spend money on? Will this affect my tomorrow if I spend the money on this thing? But think about a rich man. He has enough money, he has a lot of money, that he doesn't have to think about every single thing that he's spending his money on. And where the difference pays off is this poor man loses a lot of his energy and his mental space trying to save money, and that is losing him time and energy that would have gotten him more money. That would have gotten him more money. But the rich man doesn't have to think about it, and he's able to move forward with more ease. He's able to grow much easier. I'd highly recommend for you to read the book Psycho-Cybernetics. It's a really interesting, really thought provoking, and it questions your thought patterns. I've used the phrase thought patterns a lot, and I think I got that from the book Psycho-Cybernetics. How am I telling you to do the things? Again, if you read the chapter 6, Let Your Success Mechanism Work for You from Psycho-Cybernetics, it talks about a lot of these great people who achieved great things using this very approach to get the things that they want to get. For example, Charles Darwin, what he did was he worked on this problem of evolution, he worked on it for months, and he started to get frustrated that he's not able to come up with a solution. And he decided to take a break. And in his book on the evolution of species, he mentions the idea of evolution occurred to him. He talks about how it is on a very random moment that the thing occurred to him. Instead of using those examples, if I just use the very relatable examples of shower ideas, you'll understand, because often we get the most creative and fun ideas in the shower, because let's say at that time is where we are disconnected from all this conscious thought. There is nothing deliberate going on in your head other than the activity that you're doing. For example, driving. Okay, you're going for a walk where you're not consciously thinking about something. In these times, your brain does all the processing by its own, and it just occurs to you as a process of constant thought. And that's what separates us from all this artificial intelligence and everything. What we call creative process, what we call being able to create something spontaneously. The ability that we have for that is insane, and we don't seem to use that very often. So I'm going to be more specific about the strategy. How what you're going to do is you're going to collect all the information, all the strategy, all the idea about the thing that you want to do. You're going to be really focused on the goal. You're going to understand exactly what you're going to do. You're going to decide your goal very detailed, and you're going to accept that's the most important thing you want in your life right now. You're going to collect all the intellectual resources that you need, and you're just going to stop. Just going to, you just, my mouth's sticking. You're just going to give your brain everything that it needs, and you're just going to let it be free. Let it do the things on its own. Let it do the processing. Let it do the thing that it's capable of doing. You don't have to consciously think. You don't have to consciously decide everything that you have to do. Let the brain do its work and give it enough time, and it will figure it out on its own and come back to the problem later on. And you'll find to your surprise that the brain has done its work, and it's much easier for you to do the things that you were going to do now because your brain did most of the heavy lifting. And how are you going to do this in the form of your goals? I know what I need to do for the next 1 year. I know the goal that I have for the next 8 months. And I know the things that I have to do to get there. I don't consciously think, okay, what do I have to do? What do I have to do? What do I have to become? I don't consciously burden myself with those questions because I've already decided that. Now I have to do the things that would contribute to that. Now I have to build systems in place that would let me do those things effortlessly, that would help me go forward. Let's say I want to achieve a very athletic body, I want to be top notch in some sports. What I would do is I would design a training protocol that would help me achieve those things. I wouldn't be watching a fitness video every day trying to decide what's the best workout that I have to do. I'd probably just hire a coach for, let's say, 1 week, and he'll tell me what I need to do for the next 8 months. And that, if I just kept repeating, iterating it according to my progress, and if I just repeat it, that would actually be more than enough than just constantly burdening yourself with the decisions that don't need to be made. And that's what I'm doing with this channel as well. If you look at this, how I'm doing this, I have a general idea about the video that I want to make. I have a title for this video. I have 4 talking points, let's say. And then I just start recording. I put this topic into my head, let's say yesterday or the day before, and it's been running in the back of my mind for so long. Now I have so much to talk, but not enough time. I know what I have to talk about, and I just click record and I start talking. And that's how I want you to approach some things. And sometimes this is the approach that you want to take in terms of going forward, in terms of doing the things that you want to do. If you make the decisions that have to be made, then let your creative process work for yourself. You'll force yourself to be capable of doing those things more efficiently because you're not constantly micromanaging every single thing that you need to do. I think that's it for this video. I think I've talked enough. I want to talk about something that I wanted to talk about for a long time, which is kind of the purpose and the goal with this channel, which is to build a community around the people who have the same goals as me, who thinks the same way, who have these aspirations to do something that is bigger than themselves. You don't find a lot of people thinking like this. You don't find a lot of people who is doing the things that you want to do, and you don't have a space where you can talk about it and ask for opinions and have a discussion about it, solve each other's problems to go forward in these goals. I want to build a community around that. I want you to comment down below what could be the best strategy in terms of building that. Should I build it on Discord? Should I build it on school.com? If some of you want to be a moderator or something, we could make this work together and we could help each other improve. This could be a good thing moving forward. And I wish to make videos with people like you who are watching this video. I want to talk with you live, understand how you guys think. I want to share your insights with mine on this channel. That's kind of the goal with this channel that I have. And I think that's it. You can click here somewhere for another video that will question the patterns of your mind and make you maybe better for the things that you want to do and get the success that you want.